Welcome, friends, to the Someone Gets Me podcast. I am your host, Dianne A, and I am so delighted that you're here. This podcast was created because I believe there is a visionary leader inside each one of us who is waiting to be seen. In each episode of Someone Gets Me, you will hear useful tips from successful visionaries who will share their stories about how being seen has allowed them to take their vision out into the world with action. The secret sauce for neurodivergent leaders. Hi, friends, it's Dianne, and today we're going to talk about the secret sauce that really helps a neurodivergent leader be excited, fulfilled, passionate, and effective. These things are so important. And those of us who are neurodivergent, whether we have ADHD or another situation, are often challenged with how to lead the team or the group or even manage our own lives. And I believe there's a secret sauce that helps us live the best life, be the happiest and the most effective in our work and in our play. So first, I want to tell you a little story because I think this will ring true on whatever level for you. I've been working in the helping professional personally and professionally for 45 years. And I have a lot of hours and time of listening to people, to gifted people, to neurodivergent people, to neurotypical people trying to make their way in the world. Whether they're trying to run their company or it's a musician trying to keep his band and his tour together, or somebody trying to grow spiritually, or a corporate CEO who is trying to sort out how to run and manage the company, or somebody who's newly retired, covered all the bases, even high school students. So one of the things that I have a story about is this person who I was working with quite some time ago, and let's call the person Craig. That is not the person's real name, of course, but it's a theme. It's an idea. This story is a compilation of situations. And so Craig came to me and he wanted to have some help with a grieving situation. He was grieving the loss of a relationship and it was impacting his work, and he was just feeling kind of a malaise and things like that. He didn't have mental illness in that classical sense, but he was certainly ADHD and certainly reacting very intensely to the sensitive emotions. And so we were working together, and it wasn't very long into working together, maybe 4 months or so, that Craig said, I think I'm good. I've learned everything I can learn. I've applied it all and I've got it. And so he said, let's just take a break and I will call you when I'm need more. I said, okay, fine, because I'm not going to push anything on anyone or try to tell somebody what to do. But here's what I knew. I knew that Craig was doing what I call flight to health, meaning if I can just learn the thing, I can learn the strategy or learn the word or learn the thing, then I will be all better. Because that's what our culture in Western society teaches us. If you just know the right thing, you'll be better. But see, that's not true. It's not true in our development, and it's not true as a neurodivergent leader. So let's think about this for a minute. What do you think happened to Craig? Well, I can tell you. About 3 years goes by, I never did hear from Craig, and I'd email him once in a while when I was thinking of him, because I know that if I'm thinking of somebody, something's going on. And then finally I hear from him, and he sounds really sad. I said, what's up? Why are you sad? Because I'm thinking that he was doing great all along. And he goes, you were right. I learned all those things in my head, but it didn't stick in my day-to-day life. And I've been really sad and miserable since, and I've had a really hard time. And so he asked if I would take him back and show him the way. And I said, of course I will. And then I've had other people who tell me how fast they learn and how quick they are, because of course you are. You're gifted. You're neurodivergent. Of course you learn fast. But that's not where the secret sauce is. Because as I tell everybody, if learning the cognitive information was enough, none of us would need mentors, therapists, coaches, healers, none of it. Because we know how to deep dive and learn things like no other group of people. So if knowledge alone was the answer to the challenge, we wouldn't know each other. because we would seek the knowledge. We would do the deep dive. These days we would go on Chat GPT or something, and we would get the knowledge, and we would be all better. And whatever the problem is, the solution would have appeared. But see, that's not how it works. There's more. There is a secret sauce that has to go with that knowledge. And I see it over and over again. I've had a couple people call me recently on get to know you calls. And one of them was from this country and one of them not from this country. The same challenge. I know a lot of things. I'm smart, yet there's still something missing. And so I think it's a really important thing for us as neurodivergent people to really think about are these kinds of things? What is going on? So there's a drive in us to learn. There's a drive to know things. There's a drive to get an understanding. And I think that's noble. And I think it's required if we're going to grow and evolve and transform in this world. And I think there's also more. So I think there needs to be a balance between human doing, learning, acting, those things, and human being, integrating, meditating, allowing ourselves to live in the flow of the world, whatever that looks like for us. So human doing, you're human being. So gifted people often are over rewarded for the human doing part because we can do more faster than a lot of people. When we're neurodivergent, we have a whole different ability to nuance things and put ideas together and synthesize things and see patterns like nobody else on the team, nobody else in the family. So what happens? We get relied on to do the thing. And eventually the doing, the searching, the seeking outside of ourselves, all of those things begins to erode our sense of self, begins to erode our confidence in ourselves, begins to erode our sense of competence, because we're always just seeking and going and doing. And we never slow down enough, like really slow down enough to breathe and feel our human beingness. And I'm not talking just about meditating here. I'm talking about feeling our human beingness. So do you know what your right little toe is feeling right now while you're listening to me? How about your left knee? How's that doing? Right? Can you tell how your eyes are? Are they strained? What's going on? Are you in your beingness? Or are you just in your mind, like a brain on a stick? Because those are two different experiences. Now, with neurodivergent people, we have a real intensity about us. And so if we try to keep it only in our head, eventually we'll end up so dissatisfied, maybe even with high blood pressure or some other medical problem or anxiety or something, because we can't keep up. So there's a delicate balance between human doing and human being. So for me, I think the secret sauce has to do with this balance. I think it's the balance of sweet and savory. It's the balance of rest and activity. It is the balance of deep dive learning and integration. So for the neurodivergents, all of us out here, it is the idea, the practice, the protected and dedicated time of integration. That's the secret sauce, integration. Protect and dedicate our time to integrate experiences, epiphanies, new learnings. All of these things require us, if we want to be happy and successful and free and transform and all those things and be as effective as we want to be, we have to learn how to integrate things. We are not living by knowledge alone because that's a machine. You are a human being, meaning integrate. And that doesn't mean just sitting around and meditating or sitting around and sleeping or learning stuff and then taking a break. It's much bigger than that. The secret sauce is about taking the information or the experience and asking, how does it land on me? How does that land when I let it in my system? And then how can I weave the new information or understanding into the fabric of my being? So integration takes focus and determination, takes time. It takes patience and understanding. And a lot of times it's more effective when we have somebody walking the road with us, whether it's a mentor or a coach sometimes, or good friends, or your trusted others. Like I have trusted others helping guide me. So I think all of us, because we're pack animals, do best when there's people in relation with us supporting the journey, supporting us along the way. Right? So your secret sauce is adding integration into your learning strategy. Because every neurodivergent leader that I have begun to work with over many, many years, we're talking thousands, start out some of them not even understanding that integration is a thing we need to worry about, but most importantly, not wanting to take the time to do it. I hear all kinds of things. I learn fast. I hear that all the time. I hear, I love the deep dive. I'll worry about the fun things later. Or I have a big flow. I can move really fast. And so just give it to me quick. And then there was a guy who always brought a notebook and put all the notes into it, a loose leaf binder, all the handouts I gave him, all the worksheets we worked on, all his notes. And then he goes, see, I've got it. I've got all the information. You brain dumped it and you gave it to me. And now I'm good. He didn't integrate any of it. He was too busy grabbing all the information. And then so he moved to Brazil. And then he started having a lot of hard times because he thought holding it in his mind alone was going to help. And it doesn't. It's a part of it, but it's not all of it. The more important part is, how do you weave the information, understanding, and knowledge into the vision for your life, the mission of your life? How do you allow that fabric to begin to rectify any tears from old pain or trauma or grief? How are you going to do that? What's the process look like for you? And so integration has a process to it. First, we have to be aware, right? We have to be paying attention, and we have to tell ourselves the truth about where any disconnect is in ourselves. And then, of course, we have to be open-minded. We have to be open to the fact that our very, very best work misses integration a lot of the time. And so it's important to have other people support us in that process. And then we have to be open, right? And then we have to be receptive. And then we have to respond to the things we're receiving. And then most importantly, the last little ingredient in the secret sauce is being obedient. Now, a lot of people recoil at that word, but I think the word is a powerful one, because what we're being obedient to is the higher principles of the universe of love, gratitude, kindness, generosity, reciprocity, those kinds of things. So are we, each one of us, being obedient to doing the right thing, even when no one's looking? How is our integrity really? How is our self-honesty like really? How are we doing this, allowing the new to be mixed into and integrated with what's already in our system? And then maybe some threads from the old need to be pulled out, but we don't want to leave holes. So we fill the fabric with something beautiful. That's integration. We have to pay attention to integration when we're on stage. I work with a lot of musicians, and they're on stage a lot, and there's an audience. And so it matters how they engage with the audience, how they use their experience and their music and their capability to weave a beautiful fabric of yumminess, right? Of glory to their audience. And at the same time, integrate for themselves the experience, their ability to play, their inspiration, their creativity, the receptivity of the audience and of them to the audience. All of these things play together very pretty and very powerfully for a musician or a speaker. I speak in a lot of events, and I do retreats and things like that. And my integration has to do with my connection to the people in the room, to the audience, if you will, whether it's a board meeting or a team meeting or a family, or in this case, my retreats. paying attention to the information, the knowledge, the number of people, the things that are going on, the cognitive knowledge I have that I want to share, but most importantly, to the integration. So every time I teach something new or I talk about a topic, I allow for integration time. And that doesn't mean getting on a phone and doom scrolling. It doesn't mean distracting. It means allowing ourselves to breathe and come inside of ourselves and feel our beingness, experience the information or topic or whatever the content is. And then we move on to the next thing. Now, in our society, we are all often over reinforced for our brain and what we learn and how fast we can learn, that it's easy to miss the integration part because we're really not reinforced for it, and not even too many people talk about it. But I think it's important for neurodivergent leaders to realize that our secret sauce is knowing that as we integrate and weave everything together, that our influence, our leadership becomes powerful because we're standing in our higher authority. We're standing as sovereign beings, knowing that higher truth that our heart and our soul are wanting to bring forward. And we're learning how to live it out in human form. So I think it's a really interesting topic. I think it's something that's very important for us to understand. And I think that we all need to remember that we need people. All of us need people. And we all love to learn things. So it's great to love to learn things. And how are you integrating it? I had a client I saw recently, and I said, so how have you been in the last week? And this person said, oh, I just met with a nutritionist. This person is an expert in nutrition already. And I said, did you learn anything? Well, not really. So there you go. The profound giftedness, this person's neurodivergence led them down a path to learn more, consult more on a topic they already know a great deal about, all in an effort to solve a problem that has nothing to do with that. And that's the great seduction sometimes of wanting to overlearn or go down these rabbit holes. They're seductive because, yes, it's fun to go down them. But if we go down them and we do not come back out and integrate what is happening, we can be distracted for years, maybe even decades, by not integrating. Yeah. We don't want to be like Craig, right? We don't want to be like him, where he learned enough in his head and then ran away, literally. And then years later is regretting that he ran away. And he did this flight to health when he could have allowed himself to practice integrating the information rather than saying, well, I got it from here. Because every time we do that, we cheat ourselves and we cheat everyone around us, because we are not brains on a stick. We have bodies, we have souls, we have emotions. We have all of us that requires attention and integration and that weaving together of the beauty of who you are. So remember the steps to integrate. What is it? First, we have to take attention to ourselves, to pay attention, right? And then we have to be open, and then receptive and responsive and obedient. And so as we do that and we weave things together in those orders, we become much more powerful leaders. We become more alive and vibrant in our personal life. Our leadership becomes one of meaning and power and authenticity and greatness. And the people that we're leading also rise to that occasion, are invited to do something amazing. And so there's no greater amazing thing that we can do than support the integration of the people around us for them to integrate their world. So use any kind of music you would like or any kind of outdoor nature activity. Allow yourself to be open. Allow yourself to receive the greatness and the yumminess of the universe. And allow yourself to be receptive, do the things that are important, and always allow yourself to follow your heart, follow your vision, and remember integrity. Do what you say you're going to do. Don't do what you say you're not going to do. Allow yourself to follow some of the higher rules. You know what they are. Do the right thing, the golden rule, all of those things. Do them. And you will see that secret sauce will add a profound richness and depth to your life. So I want to thank you for listening or watching Someone Gets Me this week. And think about your secret sauce. Think about how you are open and receptive and responsive. Think about how you allow yourself to integrate your life experience to your own world and create a more vibrant and rich fabric from which you can stand and do great things in the world. Don't forget, if you want to be on my email newsletter list, there's a link in the show notes. And as always, if there's any questions you have, or you just want to chat about things that are important, or this show, make sure that you make a get to know you call with me, because I love having these conversations. I love meeting people and sharing great ideas about the neurodivergent gifted world. So until the next episode of Someone Gets Me, put your face to the sun so the shadows fall behind you, because you are a rock star. You're here on purpose with a mighty purpose. So go out there and let your light shine. And remember, your neurodivergent, amazing self is here on purpose with something beautiful. Allow yourself to experience that beauty from the inside out. Until the next episode of Someone Gets Me, this is Dianne saying, be well. Thank you for listening. I trust you gained some valuable inspiration and information. Please join me and other visionaries in the Someone Gets Me Facebook group. Or for more information on my services and additional episodes, visit someonegetsme.com. Again, thanks for listening.